I looked my stepfather dead in the eyes across the dinner table and told him he was not allowed at my graduation. Not uninvited. Not gently redirected. I told him he was not welcome. And the worst part? I'd been planning to say it for 3 months. Okay, so, background, because it actually matters here. My name is Danny, I'm 22. My mom, Sandra, married my stepfather, Ron, when I was 11. Ron is not a bad person, I want to be clear about that, because this whole thing gets messier if you think he's just a villain. He worked hard, he kept the lights on, he never missed a school play. He also never let me forget, not once in 11 years, that he was doing us a favor. That's the thing about Ron. He shows up and then he keeps a running tab. Every recital he attended, every tuition check he co-signed, every holiday dinner, it's all in a mental ledger somewhere, and he pulls from it whenever he needs leverage. My biological dad, Marcus, left when I was 4. He's been in and out, mostly out. But he came back into my life seriously about 2 years ago, and we've been rebuilding slowly, carefully. Graduation felt like the moment, the first real milestone we'd share together. Sandra knew this, I'd told her explicitly. I wanted Marcus there. I wanted it to feel like mine. Ron, apparently, had different plans. It started about 6 weeks before the ceremony. Sandra called me, not texted, called, which is always a signal that she wants to control the conversation in real time. She was excited, she said. Ron had booked a table at my favorite restaurant for after. He'd already told his whole side of the family, his sister, her husband, their 3 kids. 7 people, 7, for my graduation dinner. I just sat there on the phone trying to figure out how to say what I was feeling without it becoming a whole thing. I said, Mom, I was thinking it would just be small. You, me, Marcus, maybe his wife. Silence. Then, Danny, Ron has been there every step of the way. He's practically your father. And there it is, that word, practically. Ron is practically my father the same way a hotel is practically your home, functional, fine, but not the thing itself. I told her I appreciated everything Ron had done, but that this day specifically, I wanted it to be about my actual family. She said, and I quote, Marcus doesn't get to swoop in for the highlight reel. Which, okay, that one stung a little because she's not entirely wrong. Marcus did miss a lot, but that's between me and him. I'm an adult. I get to decide who I share my milestone with. Ron found out about the conversation. I don't know how, I assume Sandra told him and he called me himself. He was calm, which is somehow worse than angry. He said, I've been there for 12 years, Denny. I think I've earned a seat at the table. And I said, you have a seat at the table, just not this one. I heard him exhale. Long pause. Then he said, I hope you understand what you're asking your mother to choose between. And that's when I knew this wasn't going to stay quiet. Dinner table conversation happened 2 weeks later. I went home for the weekend, bad call in retrospect, and Ron brought it up before we'd even finished the salad. He laid it out calmly, reasonably, the way he always does. He said he wasn't trying to take anything from Marcus. He just wanted to be there for a moment he'd invested in. My mom was quiet, watching me, and I looked at him and I said it. Ron, you're not welcome at my graduation. I'm asking you not to come. Not I'd prefer, not maybe we can do something separate. I drew a line. My mom pushed back from the table. She said I was being cruel, that Ron had sacrificed more for me than I'd ever acknowledged, that I was rewriting history to suit a narrative I'd decided on. Ron didn't yell. He just said, okay, I heard you, and he got up and left the room. That was almost worse than a fight. My aunt, Sandra's sister, texted me the next day. She said what I did was cold. That Ron had every right to be proud of me and I'd stripped that from him. And here's where I have to be honest with you, because I've been sitting with this, part of me knows I could have handled it differently. I could have had 2 separate dinners. I could have given Ron a different moment, but I also know that if I hadn't been that direct, he would have found a way to make it happen anyway. He always does. A few weeks later, my mom came to the ceremony. She sat next to Marcus. Ron stayed home. She cried when I crossed the stage, and afterward, at the small dinner I'd wanted, she hugged me and didn't mention him once. I don't know if that means she agreed with me, or if she was just choosing me in that moment. We haven't really talked about it since. Ron texted me about a month after graduation, just 3 sentences. He said he was proud of me. He said he hoped I knew that. He said he wasn't going anywhere. I haven't responded yet. And I don't know what that says about me. Because on one hand, I got what I wanted. The day was mine. It felt like mine. Marcus and I took a photo together after the ceremony and I cried in a way I haven't cried in years. On the other hand, Ron sat alone at home while the woman he married watched her daughter graduate. He built something with us for over a decade, and I locked him out of a room he thought he'd earned a key to. My friends are split down the middle on this. Half of them think I finally stood up for myself. The other half think I was brutal about it in a way that didn't have to be that brutal. So I'm asking you, honestly, was I wrong? Was there a version of this where I get my day and Ron isn't sitting at home alone? Or did I have to be that direct, that cold to actually make it stick? Because I've been turning it over for 2 months and I genuinely don't know anymore. Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.